Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at the outset, I wish to thank you for convening this meeting. I also thank the SRSG CAAC Ambassador Vanessa, UNICEF Executive Director, and the Country Director of the Plan International Haiti for their insightful remarks. Mr. President, according to the Secretary General's report, violations against children in armed conflict reached unprecedented levels in 2025, and the highest number of children were affected by great violations since the beginning of the mandate. Among the 6 great violations against children, attacks on education were increased by 40% in the 2024-2025 period, according to the Global Coalition to Protect Education from Attack. These shocking numbers demonstrate the monitoring and reporting mechanism alone are not sufficient to prevent violations under the CAAC agenda. Political will, increased compliance with international law, strengthen accountability for violations, and preventive tools must be accompanied in tandem to ensure the protections of children and the preventions of great violations. Mr. President, my country, Myanmar, is witnessing one of the highest numbers of great violations since the 2021 illegal coup. The Secretary General report highlighted a disproportionate number of violations against children committed by the military junta and its affiliate forces, including forced conscription, adoption, killing and maiming, attacks against schools, and denial of humanitarian access. Against this alarming backdrop, I wish to emphasize the following concrete measures to strengthen the protections of education and the preventions of great violations in Myanmar. First, prevent the flow of jet fuel to the military junta. The recent OHCHR report stressed that airstrikes by the military junta remain the single largest cause of destruction and suffering on civilians, including children. Deliberate and targeted area attacks on schools and learning centers by the military have essentially deprived children of their safe space to learn and the rights to education. As a result, some children in Myanmar are learning in bangals or makeshift camps. There are videos of our children executing evacuation procedures upon hearing a fighter jet in the sky. Therefore, I appeal to the member states to cut the flow of arms, weapons, jet fuel, other Jewish items, and related technologies to the military junta to protect our children and our schools. Second, enforce accountability measures for violations. The OHCHR reported that 702 civilians, including 153 children, were killed by the military junta in the sham elections period alone. The spikes of violations by the military are reinforced by pervasive impunity and lack of effective accountability mechanisms. There is a widespread public perception that unwarranted engagement with the military junta have emboldened the military to commit further atrocities against civilians, including women and children. As such, I urge the Council to enforce accountability measures against the military junta, including a follow-up resolution to the Security Council Resolution 2669 and referring the situation in Myanmar to the ICC. At the same time, I wish to echo the Secretary General's call for a working group on CAAC to adopt conclusions on the present report on Myanmar so that it could help protect children and save their lives. Third, provide tangible support to affected communities. More than 6.3 million school-age children and young people have been left out of school, losing their rights to basic education since the coup. Predictable and sustained financing is urgently needed to invest in early warning system, digital infrastructure, internet connectivity, capacity training in ICTs, and remote learning opportunities in conflict-affected areas. Despite facing challenges, the National Unity Government and allied democratic forces are coordinating through the Steering Council for the Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union to utilize available technologies and collaborate with CDM's educators to provide innovative online education pathways for our children and youth. In addition, the NUG has engaged with the UN accordingly to adopt child protection measures as welcomed by the Secretary General in his report. In conclusion, Mr. President, Myanmar reaffirms the utmost importance of safeguarding the right to education for children and preventing their great violations in all circumstances. The loss of education opportunities threatens an entire generation of Myanmar children and their future. Narrow self-interest cannot take precedence over the protections of our children. The international community, particularly the Security Council, has a collective responsibility to protect the lives and future of our children and enforce accountability measures against their violations. Failure to act is a choice, and its cost is generational. Finally, I reiterate my urgent call to the international community to support the people of Myanmar in their efforts to eradicate the military dictatorship and build a federal democratic union that can genuinely guarantee the protections of children. I thank you, Mr. President.